Hi, Titans. My name is Bryant Fung, and today I will be presenting my philosophy of education. So, here is some background about me. I love to exercise, specifically strength and resistance training, and it has been a part of my lifestyle ever since I was an adolescent. I also enjoy studying and applying rehabilitation exercises to my lifestyle habits in order to increase my quality of life. I also enjoy learning and studying human anatomy and physiology on my off times. So, what are my goals? My goals are to become a physical education teacher and a strength and conditioning coach at the high school level so that I can teach students skills they can use for lifelong physical activities. So, what is the role of education? For the purpose of education, in my own definitions, I have that the purpose of education is to empower young children with the knowledge and competency to lead and prepare for a successful and productive life, whether that would be the higher education route, which would be college, professional development route, which could be a physician's assistant, or the military. And how about the teacher? What is the role of the teacher? The role of the teacher is to guide the students in a methodical manner so that children can increase their competency while maintaining their success and achievement. And for the role of the student is to put forth their individual effort in order to learn, conceptualize, and assess the new information being provided by the teacher. Without effort from the student, the teacher's efforts will also be left unnoticed. So, what am I going to teach? My subject area that I will be teaching will be physical education. And the goals I have for my students in this subject area are to help them develop and enhance their sport related and fitness related skills so that they can have those skills for any future instances where they are participating in physical activity. The bigger goal is to make sure that students are competent with the movement skills so that when it is time for them to perform a skill, they will be competent enough to participate. So, who am I going to teach? I will be teaching high school students because I also want to be a strength and conditioning coach. And the only place with that opportunity is at a high school. So, what is special about adolescence and why do I wish to teach at this age group? So, adolescents are at a very special age because during this time they are very vulnerable to growth and change due to the fact that their brains are starting to fully develop. And because this is such a vulnerable time, educators like us will have the biggest impact on these adolescents' lives. And it is up to the educator to make that impact a positive one. I believe that adolescents learn through success and trial and error. Without success, an adolescent can feel lost, hopeless, and unmotivated. But with success, an adolescent can develop confidence, motivation, and an increase in achievement. It is also important that the adolescent has time to have some trial and error moments, as those moments are the most important ones for learning. So, how am I going to teach? I will teach based on the classroom being as inclusive as possible. And I want the classroom to be as inclusive as possible because in physical education, adolescents come from many backgrounds and experiences with these skills, and this can cause a discrepancy within the class. And in order to facilitate success and competency, inclusion needs to be included through the use of modifications. So, what are some modifications? Let's say a student does not have the capacity to use a baseball. We can modify that so that the student is now using a pickleball. This will be lighter and it will travel through the air slower than a baseball. Same thing with the volleyball. If the volleyball is too much for the student, we can modify that into a beach ball. This will help the inclusiveness within our classroom. And the subject matter that I will be teaching will be physical education, and it will provide a student an opportunity to practice and enhance their movement skills needed for lifelong physical activity. So when I'm going to be teaching, I will be teaching new content through the use of my two favorite strategies when it comes to physical education. The first one being whole, part, whole, which means that the whole skill is shown first, and then part of a skill, and then the whole skill again. This provides students multiple chances to see the full skill in action and then just part of a skill. Another strategy that I really like is the teach, practice, and teach. This is when you teach part of a skill, have students practice that part of a skill, and once students are ready to move on, you will teach another part of that skill. These two strategies are great because it provides students a great way to observe the teacher performing the skill, and it allows them to go through a process of trial and error with those critical factors in mind. And for the assessments, there are three different types of assessment. For the entry level assessment, I would include a short, ungraded, fun quiz that asks students about their prior knowledge with the sport that we are going to cover in the next few weeks. This will help introduce the students to what is to come ahead. For the formative assessment, I will be asking questions related to what has just been reviewed or taught, and this will give me an idea of where the class is in terms of competency and understanding. From this information, I can then determine if I need to review a certain part of the lesson or if I am ready to move on. For the summative assessment, I will be providing a short quiz with 10 questions that students should be able to answer based on their performance of the formative assessments. It will include what sport is related to the skill, how to perform the skill, and important parts of the skill. So, in conclusion, when teaching physical education, the main goal is to provide students with an opportunity at school to practice, develop, and enhance their movement skills so that they are competent with the physical activity they will encounter later on in life. The objective is to have adults who participate in physical activity because they are competent with the movement. And to develop competency, I use a teach, practice, teach method or the whole part, whole teaching.